But there have been so many people out there who watched Making a Murderer and were moved, disturbed by Brendan's story, and who've reached out to us to ask what they can do to help Brendan. There's something really easy you can do. Maybe this upcoming weekend you find yourself with an extra 10 minutes of time. Think about sending him a letter, right? These letters don't have to be long. They don't have to be powerful, but just tell him, keep your head high. I believe in you, right? We're fighting for you. It'll happen for you. These letters are such a small gesture on the part of every one of us, but they sustain him, right? They give him hope every day. And that gives us the hope we need to keep on fighting. So find his address on the Wisconsin Department of Corrections website. He's in the Oshkosh Correctional Institution. Reach out to him. Let him know he's got friends all over the world who believe in him.
Fantastic.
Yay, I did the thing.
Yay, you did it. And that started to make me cry.
I was trying to play around with it, and I was hoping it would upload by the time I was ready to go live. But I was listening to that. Thank you guys. I was listening to that interview last night, and I was kind of playing around with the video editor that Linda showed me, and I decided to make like a little video about that.
That's cool. You know it better than I do.
Hey, I got a lot of free time. You're going
to have to be teaching me, not me teaching you.
But how are you doing today, Linda?
I'm doing good. I'm hot, but I'm doing good.
Yeah. How are you doing today, Alice?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. My knees the swelling in my knees slowly going down, so I'm happy for now.
Yay! Yay for good health.
And how are you, Becca?
I just got off from work, so I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, like I said, I was doing some video editing last night, and so I made that little clip, and yeah, I thought that would be a nice little reminder, because I know a lot of people feel helpless during these situations, or they leave, especially our life, today's life, feeling angry and so I thought, well, maybe that's something, when we're done with this live, maybe everyone can convert that energy to something positive and, send them a letter or something, to let them know that we're all thinking of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's something you could play at every one of them.
Yeah. Because, he doesn't.
With the letter.
Yeah. He can't talk about the case stuff, but, just you saying, hey, I'm from this country, this place, and my name is blah, 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 and, I'm just thinking of you. I tell people all the time, because a lot of people are like, I can't sit down and I don't know what to write. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to brag about my life when he's where he's at. And I always tell people, even just like a postcard of, hi, I'm here and I support you, really does make a big difference. Just like what Lord Nyrider said, it helps keep him going. He wouldn't. I'm telling you right now, the last 5 years of things that he's been through, he wouldn't have gone through as easily as he did if it wasn't for us supporters. So
I believe that. I really wholeheartedly believe that I could imagine sitting there and not having anything or anybody except for just your family. I mean, family is a lot, but when there's total strangers that believe in you, it gives you a lot of hope, a lot of will to keep going,
Yeah, and we're not just strangers at this point anymore. I truly, us, this Dassey Nation, we're his friends. We're his extended family, and I truly feel that way. And
I do too.
Yeah,
I really do. And like it always makes me feel pretty good when Pete's on, because it's like talking to Brendan. It really is, and it's his family. Yeah, major support group, you know, is his family. And, you know, I mean, it's good to be in touch that way, you know?
Yeah. I know, Pete, I've said this before and I'll always say it. Talking to Pete sounds like talking to Brendan. Like they're just two of the same Pete. You know what I mean? Like they really truly are so much alike. Like the same kind of laugh, same kind of mannerisms, same everything. So it's really,
That's great.
it
That's
really,
great.
oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Kendall,
he loves. That's the other thing. He loves pictures. He loves seeing pictures, and I don't care what kind. I mean, it has to be appropriate, obviously, but like
Peas in a pod. Yep, yes, that's Pete and Brendan. I mean, out of all of his sons, Brendan looks just like Pete.
Yeah. Well, I think they all look like him. I think they all look like Barb too. Like I can see different, you know, different stuff about all of them. I can. I don't know.
I'm no good at it or something. I don't know, but yeah.
I can see it. But
yeah, but
anywho.
you always get that one that just looks, you know, that wee bit more similar, you know, especially with the mannerisms and the characteristics and things like that as well, you know. I mean, my son actually looked like my brother when he was younger, you know. It was like a double image of my brother, the way my son looked, and we actually showed him a photograph. My brother when he was his age, and a picture of himself, and we were like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "That's me." And we were like, "No, that's your Uncle William. That's not you."
Yeah.
That's not you. That's your uncle.
me and my little sister, Mandy, we look just like my mom and aunt when we were young too. And there's a photo that's hanging in the hallway that looks like me and my little sister. It's actually my mom and my aunt standing next to my grandpa as toddlers. And every time people are always like, even the older people in the family who have like, you know, memory problems, they're always calling me Jan.
Well, my picture, my baby picture, my daughter's baby picture, and my mother's baby picture, if you put them all together up until the age of about 2, you know, the only thing you can tell the difference of is the age of the picture. We look that much alike. Yeah. Well,
so to get on with today's therapy, I like to call it, our anger therapy. Just real quickly, just to say hi to everyone in the chat. We've got Kim. Hi, Kim. Jazznaz. Alice, of course. Robin. Hi, Caroline.
Yeah.
So hi, everybody. Me. All right. I posted the link. It's a StreamYard link. It's an open panel, so at any time, feel free to jump on if you have comments or you want to be a part of the discussion. We're about halfway done with day 1. How crazy is that? It's been all this time and we're still only on day 1. But we're cruising along.
Well, you can't help it. You can only go a sentence without somebody being mad enough to say something.
Yeah, which is fine. It's understandable. There's a lot of bullshit going on in this.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I think it was it not the other night there, Linda, after Uncle Ken, we were actually speaking about that's what we were doing, and that we're only getting a few sentences, and then it's like an hour long.
Yeah. Well, you guys are having, exactly. You guys are having that with the Uncle Ken book, so.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what it is. It is what it is. So when you have nothing but bullshit smeared across these white pages, what else can you do about it, right?
Exactly.
Yep. All right. So I left off on page 207. I believe I left down at the bottom of it. Let me see. Maybe not.
I thought you left up at the top where it said the new witness thing or whatever.
The witness, the transcript of the interview. So just to recap, last one we went over, they were talking about, the last thing that he said, I believe that blew my top, was he was talking about how he was trying to communicate to the family and Brendan, but he wasn't trying to communicate to the family and Brendan through the media. So he was saying that, and he was talking about O'Kelly and how he found O'Kelly, and how O'Kelly literally was scraping the barrel of polygraph testing
of experts.
Yeah, of quote unquote expert, because the state would only pay $350, and a good polygraph person apparently in the area at the time was in $500. Yeah. So that tells you right there, the state itself was setting this up for failure. You know.
The more and more you look at it, it's more and more that there was nobody on a defense side for Brendan.
No, nobody, other than his own family. The witness. So the transcript of the interview, maybe. Okay. Page 315. So again, everything that they have evidence-wise is in our Discord under post-conviction for Brendan in our Brendan Talks Discord. We also, everything that you see here is also available on the FilePlay website, fileplay.site. So if everyone wants to, if you ever want to like dive more into this stuff and look at these exhibits, that's where they are. So item 2, page 13. 13, excuse me, blah, blah, blah. Chapter 3, Miranda. So they're talking about the February 27th, Two Rivers Police Station video. And then, of course, Fallon objects again, because that's all he does. And then he's like, it's irrelevant. And then he says it's relevant. Loyalty with respect to the motion, absolutely not. They go back and forth. Then he sustains it. So let me ask you this way. Were you aware, or had you come to the conclusion that the Miranda warnings that were given to Mr. Dassey on February 27th at the Two Rivers Police Station was illegally deficient? Huh.
I didn't come.
So huh?
I just, I'm just thinking of him not being there,
I didn't come. Objection again, same issue, same question. Illegal deficit is a question for law of the court. Well, it's a mixed question of law and fact. And then he says, I'm going to overrule the objection. He can answer it. So, okay, answer if you can. So his
What
answer.
Is this? Wait a minute. What is this? I'm not interested in hearing any more about this. Wait a minute.
He's probably saying he's not, because he's saying you can answer the question, but he's not interested in hearing any more about Fallon's objections.
Oh, okay, that's better. Okay.
Because then he's like, you can answer the question. He can answer that. I'm not interested in hearing more about this objection stuff, probably.
Yeah.
Because then he said, answer if you can, and then so the guy's going to answer.
Right.
The witness, sure. The answer is that I don't think I carefully looked at the issue regarding the February 27th as a Miranda warning type issue, because the state has indicated that it wasn't going to use that as evidence. And the only thing then that was the subject of the suppression motion was the March 1st statement, which I, of course, did go over quite carefully. Okay. So is that basically because, like, I'm sorry, I apologize big time. Because I haven't read ahead of this. So is this basically saying that they didn't read Brendan the Miranda?
See, there's always
on
been
this,
there's
on
been
this
a problem
particular
with that. Yeah. They think, because you remember he says, well, do you remember what I read you last time? Is it okay? You know what I mean? And they never really read him it again. Maybe that's what they mean. That's what I would think. Hi, Sammy.
Maybe.
Yeah, because there was a problem with him in the Miranda rights. First of all, Brendan, I'm sure, did not understand them. A lot of people don't. I mean, even grown adults with no disability towards language don't understand them. So, yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I doubt that I doubt anybody, even in, a lot of people understand what their Miranda rights are.
Yeah. I do now. But I didn't a couple of years ago. I really didn't. Like straight up, I had no idea. But I do now. Definitely do now.
Advisals. His answer. So let me ask you this question then. Had you looked at the sufficiency and made any determination as to sufficiency of that February 27th Miranda advisal? And he said, I'd say no. If it were not sufficient, do you think, well, hold on, that's fine, I'll move on. Okay, I don't know what that's about. April 16th, Mr. O'Kelly polygraphs Brendan. You spend 0.3 hours on the phone with him. Hold on, I have to turn my page. Okay. Did Mr. O'Kelly tell you what the results of the polygraph were? He says yes. Now this is important, as me and Linda both are probably gonna freak out.
Yeah.
And what did he tell you the results of the polygraph were? He said the results were inconclusive, which means they were neither inconclusive means they were inconclusive, means they were neither pass or fail. They were just too much to know what it was. Okay. Did you at all relay that to Barb at the time? I doubt it. I don't think I did.
Keep going. I'm gonna keep my lips shut.
At the time, do you recall whether or not Michael O'Kelly had discussed with you or mentioned to you that Brendan was wanting to get a new lawyer? Interesting. I don't recall him. I don't recall that. No. At some point he did. At some point he did warn me there might be problems. I'm not sure where that fell in the timeline. Do you have Exhibit 94 in front of you? Yes. No, I don't. I think it must be a volume 2. Teacher Josh has that one. I'll just give him real quick rather than lengthy. Will you just tell me if you ever seen anything like that before? What exhibit? Blah, blah, blah. Right. That was form given me by Mr. O'Kelly. Okay. That was a form given me by Mr. O'Kelly after results of polygraph and his interview with Brendan. So this is that famous interview where he gives him that
I did it, I didn't do it thing. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry thing. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's just so appropriate. I mean, that what a thing to put in front of a 16-year-old kid anyway. Well, it's confusing. I'm sorry I did. I'm sorry I did. Won't do it again. Whoa, either way is guilt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that. Sorry, Becca. It's not that. He's putting that form in front of Brendan and he's saying basically you have to admit it. Well, the Wayne's not going to want to fill that in because he's not done anything.
That's right. That's why you see him looking at it like, well, I don't know. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry for the family, but I didn't do anything. Yeah, you know.
Let me look up something real quick. I'm looking at the here we go. No. I'm looking at the transcript. O'Kelly's transcript. So this is his interview. I'm gonna post a PDF in our Discord if anybody is interested in it. This is the May 12th, 2006 meeting between O'Kelly and Brendan Dassey. This is also where he tells Brendan, I'll show you some things here that I've laid out for you. This is your polygraph. Can you read up here? And Brendan shakes his head no. Can you see that far? Can you see what color it is? And he said red. And he said, okay, well, I'll read it for you. It says deception indicated. Probability of deception at this point 98. That's 98. And then Brendan says, so what does that mean? And then he says, what do you think it means? And then Brendan says that I passed it. It says deception indicated. And then Brendan says that I failed it. Yes, that doesn't surprise you. Let me show you some things. This is the original poster for Teresa Hallback, okay? This is Teresa's website. This is her family. You see them in court, right? Okay, this is the last thing that Teresa saw. She saw this sign right here. Do you recognize this sign? What does that sign say? Dead end. Okay, it's pretty prolific, isn't it? That right there is a picture right there, our driveway. Where is it going to? My mom's house, Stephen's house. Yeah.
I mean,
so
the penny should have dropped right there and then when he said deception, and that Wayne didn't even know what he meant by the word deception.
Yeah. So I just want everyone to realize. So the results of the polygraph were, according to Meow,
he passed
here,
the polygraph.
I'm just saying, according to Meow, he was informed that it was inconclusive. Did he tell Barb? No. Did he tell Brendan? It doesn't sound like it.
Yep. I mean,
now
he left
we
know
he passed it. But I'm just saying, according to O'Kelly, to his lawyer, it was inconclusive.
I agree, Carolyn. It does need to be illegal.
Okay. So back to the post-conviction hearing. After results of polygraph, his interview with Brendan and Kelly. Prior to interview, did you talk with O'Kelly about your, what was going to happen, or were you going to be looking for from his meeting with him on that day? I relayed to Mr. O'Kelly. This is important, guys. I related to Mr. O'Kelly simply. I wanted to send him a copy of the complaint, and that issue in the case was not Brendan present when all these things had occurred. So it is very relative easy issue to polygraph. It's not the question of admitting to the act intent to something like that. So I said, look at it, see how he polygraphs, basically on the issue if he was there. Did he participate in some way in burning the corpse or assisting in the homicide or sexual assault? So he basically is saying he wants O'Kelly to go in there, do the polygraph, find out was Brendan actually there?
Yeah.
Did he really do all these things that he said that he did?
Right.
That's not what fucking happened, of course. O'Kelly went in there and then said, let's do the polygraph. Oh, do you see, you failed it. And so now that you failed it, you need to fill out this form saying that you're guilty. Are you sorry?
Yeah.
Sorry for what? That's exactly what would have been going through that Wayne's head. Sorry for what? I never done anything.
Exactly. He looked at it. You can see his face. You can see his body language. Looking at that piece of paper like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
So, all right. So just to continue, and then I'm going to rant probably a little bit.
Okay.
Question, right. Did you convey to him the potential for a plea agreement down the road? He said at the time, no. Did you convey of him at all your sense that the statement that he gave was truthful? I think I was non-commental. Okay. Which is more than what you told Brendan then. I was non-commental to Mr. O'Kelly because I wanted to avoid, first of all, contaminating the polygraph process. I didn't want him to do a polygraph, give me predetermined results. I wanted it to be accurate. All right. Okay, and what was your reaction to the polygraph results? And then he said, after objection, relevance, overruled. Okay, after O'Kelly told me that it was inconclusive, he made some comments to the effect that he thought that Mr. Dassey was a kid without a conscience or something.
Oh my God.
What God. Sorry, I have to highlight this for myself for later. So I guess I took that from I took from that that I really was non-determinative. Okay. So now Mr. O'Kelly has told you essentially that Brendan's a psychopath. A sociopath.
Yeah. Okay.
Jesus Christ. And like what
Yeah. There's
What?
so much fucking wrong with that. Just that little statement. What can you say to it?
What profession does O'Kelly have to mentally diagnose somebody as a sociopath or anything like, oh, this kid doesn't have any conscience? You got that after a polygraph test that he came out inconclusive on. And now you're going to sit there and say, oh, he's definitely a sociopath.
Well, this is a guy that puts out things to make him jog his memory on what he did. Huh? What? You're not supposed to show anybody that kind of shit when you're giving them a polygraph. You're not. So you're supposed to just go in there, non-biased, ask questions, and then get out of there. You're not supposed to line up this bunch of bullshit, blue ribbons and all that other crap.
Yeah, for a start, you're supposed to, in a polygraph test, you're supposed to ask certain questions to get a positive and a negative result, so that you can differentiate between the answers that they're given. You know, so the positive would be, is your name Brendan Dassey? Yes.
Yeah.
Is your name Frida McFadgen? No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's your test. You know what I mean? And then asking simple questions. Were you there on the day of this? You know what I mean? He fucking passed it, but they still lied to him and said that he never. So the way it made choice, they were out against him and putting the ribbons and 40s and everything like that out to Teresa. That should not have been fucking allowed.
No, it shouldn't have, because it just mental tortured. Like Carolyn says, who was O'Kelly working for? How dare you say that to a child, his client? You're right. You know, absolutely right there. This guy, absolutely not working for a defense team. He was working for the prosecution. 100%.
Yeah.
So here's the problem. Here's the thing. There's the two scenarios that are going along with this. Either O'Kelly is an absolute plague on this case, that he just was like really this disgusting and low of a human being and did this stuff without having any, without Len Kaczynski giving him any direction. Like, he literally did all this stuff for what? You know, like what Caroline said, who's he really working for? Or Len Kaczynski told him what he wanted him to do and what he, you know, this is all came from Len Kaczynski, and Len Kaczynski just doesn't want to admit it during this post-conviction.
Well, no, only that, Becca. I mean, I don't even think that would have been a situation. I think even if Len didn't give him specific points, like i.e., I want to know if he's there, I want to know this, I want to know that, I still think O'Kelly would have went into that room with his own mindset. And you've got to remember, his own mindset was that the Avery family was inbreds.
Yeah. And wait a minute. He talks to a friend who suggests they end the gene pool here.
Yeah.
What is that shit? Talking to somebody about a case and getting advice from a friend? I thought that was absolutely asinine. And he went in there. Brendan needs to go to, what was that? Trust in me, in the direction I push him. What? That's fucking ridiculous. That is not you. I've never heard of a polygraph person ever in my life talking like that or setting things up like that. And are we sure this guy is just not a fucking flake off the street that just thinks he can fucking play God? That's what I think.
Well, honestly. I think Kim got it too, because who did he call when Brendan was still in the room? You know, that's exactly it. So obviously Len Kaczynski.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he called Len Kaczynski right after everything, after he filled out that questionnaire. He called Len Kaczynski and said, "I've done it. I have what you need. Yeah, I got what you need. I got what you're looking for."
And I guarantee you, Brendan's like, freaking, no, you haven't, because you made me do all that. You know what I mean?
He did. You know he did, because when
that's
he
why
said,
I'm saying.
"What's
That's why I'm
missing here?"
saying. Len Kaczynski now is saying, "No, I didn't. No, I didn't have."
Yeah,
to
he's
do
such a
that.
fucking
Yeah.
liar.
No,
dude.
that wasn't me. I didn't do that.
I just like he
Yeah,
didn't
he's
say
passing the
that
buck.
to the
He's
press.
passing the fucking buck and not taking any responsibility
I
for
didn't.
his own stupid actions, even to this day, because the fucking bastard still comes out and says, well, the court found that I didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, Robin, by the way, Len Kaczynski is a churchgoer. I know people that in Nina that go to church with him and won't even touch him, let alone, when you're supposed to shake your hands. They won't even do it. Yep.
Where the
They
heck
will
is
not
Nina?
even do it because they know what an evil person he is. So what a churchgoer. Yeah, right. You go pray. Sometimes, I'm sorry to say, but churchgoers that are really, really good churchgoers are the most, what are they, like?
Evil?
Yeah, I want to say evil, but awful. I didn't want to say evil. Yeah.
Terrible.
Judgmental.
Yeah.
Passing judgment on people.
Judgmental, guaranteed. Very judgmental.
Yes.
Just because they don't do it, then you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, literally when they're saying meet your neighbor at church with Len, I know somebody that just goes right over him, right beyond him, and will reach for the person behind him and not touch his hand, because they look at him and say, we know what you did to that kid. You're evil. I mean, he gets it all the time. He should for the rest of his life.
And beyond. Every single one of them should.
There's a special hell for both of them.
Yeah, whenever Kratz is out, Assbender's out, Liger's out, people that are put into this documentary should be keeping them at fucking tight everywhere they see them. Are you quite happy with what you done to that, Brendan? Are you proud of what you done to Brendan? How can you live with yourself? How can you sleep at night with what you done to Brendan?
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Are you printing off stuff for Brendan?
For me? No, that's the mouse running on the wheel.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a printer.
No.
Go, little mouse.
Fallon, objection to the characterization. Yeah, that's abstained. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. All right. Well, knowing that's Mr. O'Kelly's view of the case, you then went on to hire him as your investigator, right? He said yes. By the way, did you believe that was the issue in the case? And then, of course, what was the issue? Was the judge said? Rebecca, I'm sorry. The issue that you had talked about, the whether or not Brendan was there, you said, excuse me, is that right? And he said correct. Either I thought the case was pretty much a case was based on what Brendan had said. Was he there? Did he participate in some way, aiding and abetting Mr. Avery, or was he not involved in the offense whatsoever? Okay, well, he had always admitted to you that he was by the fire, right? So yes, right. He always admitted that he was by the fire. Okay, that was not an issue, right? Okay, so I guess one other thing that I wanted to touch on at this point about your preparation for the Miranda hearing that you had. Did you at all consider any custody arrangements, custodial statements, that is? I mean, as I recall, you waived Miranda issues. I'm just wondering whether or not you looked at whether or not any argument could be made that he was in custody at the time of these statements were made, particularly February 27th. Excuse me, sorry. If he was in custody, then he should have had a Miranda. Yeah.
Why would you waive his Miranda rights as a lawyer, you fuck?
Yeah, but mind how I
no,
said
he didn't.
In the last video on that, I said reading Illusion of Justice with Jerry Butem, that Jerry Butem pulled Kaczynski aside and said, look, his other lawyer dismissed this, you need to look into it. I think that's what he was on about.
Yep, that's what he's talking about. You're right.
Yeah, what happened was, it's not that Len Kaczynski waived the Miranda rights is that the law enforcement didn't read him his Miranda rights on the 27th. And Len Kaczynski didn't bring it up. He didn't fight for that. He could have fought for that. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, and I think that's what Terry Butin had pulled him to a side and said, you know, look, he's entitled to this. You need to bring it up. And all he said to Jerry Butin was, I'll think about it.
Yeah, and then Len Kaczynski's answer was, I didn't deal at all with February 27th because it wasn't going to be used by the state. Only thing I was concerned about was March 1st. Now, let me put it this way, though, is that if the state or anybody basically violated your constitutional right, whether or not they're going to use it in court, he still should have went after that. Like, that should have been still a thing, because that's your constitutional right to have your Miranda rights read to you.
Yes. But then that's the same with that interview with that reporter, Becca. Just listening to that interview with that reporter, Len Kaczynski should have used that in Brendan's defense.
He should have. Yeah, you're right.
Everything that he said, that his story was completely different to what he wrote in these statements, because he wasn't being fed the lies that he was being told. So he should have used that to help Brendan, and he never.
Yeah. That's right. He should have used it to help Brendan when they could help Brendan. They didn't. When things that would have made a big difference, like this would have made a big difference. You know?
Yeah,
they would have had to throw out them confessions.
That's
anything he said.
These little things, regardless of if they're going to use it in
they're
court
not little
later,
though, Becca.
You just well, that's what I'm trying to say, is that because he's looking at these as little small fry things. I'm like, you take everything and you use it that you have, because what else do you have?
Well, it would have stopped it. Okay, first of all, if they would have made an issue with this, anything he said on the 27th would not have been admissible in court. Okay. And that was that phone call with his mom and all that other stuff. And that's kind of what sealed a lot of deals. So, you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's true. So March 1st, it was a question of overall circumstances of that particular statement. Question. So if there were problems with the February 27th, you're saying you don't think that would have impacted the legality, you would never consider whether it would impact the legality or the admissibility of the March 1st statement. Oh, I certainly considered it, but it was 2 days later. Independent Miranda warnings, other events. I thought the intervening events were so strong that any spillover or there's a lot of big words. Was probably non-existent. Prejudice was probably non-existent. See, this is why I can't be a lawyer.
Me either.
I'm like, Your Honor, that's too many syllables in that word, so I'm going to send it.
You just say it the way I want to say it, like in layman terms.
Layman terms. This is bullshit, and
bullshit, and some more bullshit and bullets.
Is a
the court, counsel, let's stop here. Let's take an afternoon recess of 15 minutes. All right, so they had a 15-minute break. All right. Mr. Kaczynski, I'd like you to look at the transcript of the motion hearing on February 4th, drawing your attention to page 110, starting with the second to last paragraph. I believe May 4th. What did I say? February. I pay attention. I meant May 4th. I think it's important to listen to specific wording from there. That's Judge Fox's statement or mine? I believe it's yours. What page number? 110. See, Fallon doesn't pay attention. How many times do you have to say 110?
Yeah.
I believe it's your argument. Okay. All right. Does that refresh your recollection as to whether or not you made any arguments and considered February 27th statement? Okay. And did you Yes, in a very summary fashion. What did you say in argument that you need to consider in February 27th statement? It's part of the continuum of police investigation in this matter. To some extent, yes. Okay, the next day, April 18th, this now your third visit to Mr. Dassey. So April 18th is now the third visit to Brendan. Okay, you spend about an hour and 10 minutes with him. Well, 1.1 is actually an hour and 6, so cutting hairs here.
Jesus.
Okay.
God.
Probably.
Probably.
Oh,
you condescending bastard.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably an hour of time getting in and out of the jail and so forth. Yes. Sure. We don't have any notes of that interview. What did you talk about? That's interesting. We don't have any notes of that interview. I think I talked to him about the status of where the case was at so far, about any additional facts might need regarding the suppression issue, about trying to get a bond motion in for property bond, things of that nature. Okay, based on your interview with him then, he is still at the time maintaining his innocence, correct? I don't think we talked about that issue. I think you're wrong.
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
time. Okay, at that time, but there hadn't been any sudden change of heart or anything. So he's still on the same page of innocent. All right, the next day, April 19th, by who is Joel Christopher? He's a reporter for the Appleton Post-Crescent. Pardon Bureau Division, something like that. All right, so that day he spoke to 10 members of the press. Wow. And O'Kelly, and got a message from Brendan Dassey. Right? Correct. So on April 20th, you also had a couple of press conferences. More press.
If that bastard spent more time with Brendan, he might have did some good.
I think at this point he's like at what, 4 hours with Brendan?
Yeah, 4 hours on a poor child who is going to spend life in prison. And this bastard would rather have his fucking face all over fucking the newspapers, on the news, and bragging, but not doing a goddamn thing to what he was hired to do.
He wanted to be another Kratz. He's seen Kratz doing it, so he thought he could get away with it.
Yeah, this is a high-profile case. Let's just get my name everywhere.
But Kratz was even contacting him saying, hey, buddy, like, you know, be in the press all the time. That's a lot to hear that from Kratz, right? Yeah. I don't think they'd be called the press conferences. You talk with the press again. I refer your attention to 327, Exhibit 327. I don't know if that was I did believe I did. Now that I reread that. I did say something like that, sure. Okay. Also on 328, an interview with Fox 11. That's Exhibit 328 instead of March 28th. Thank you. Yes, I didn't know there might be a short interview. Yes. Okay, have you reviewed that? Exhibit 328? Yeah. I'm not sure. Sometime during this case, I did what I knew that Avery's attorneys were doing, Dean Strang in particular. I started sending copies of my motions and other pleadings to the media so that they can get their story straight, try to reduce the number of incoming phone calls and things like that, which is so fucking funny because you wouldn't let the Angelique Levy
right. Because it said
interview out because you're trying to get the story straight, but you won't let your own client's real story of what happened go out there.
That's right. Because
I know G String was doing it at the time. That's why I figured that was a good idea. That might work. In fact, an article in the Wisconsin Lawyer about 4 months ago or so suggested some of the things that I actually did in this case. Oh,
like what did you do?
You see how he was all like, you
You know, even to this day,
I was in the Wisconsin lawyer.
Even to this day, Kaczynski says, nothing I did made a difference. You're right. Yep. You are very right.
That's actually true, Linda. I need to highlight this and then message my friend Lynn on Facebook and say, right here, suggested some of the things that I actually did in this case. So what did you do? You did do stuff in this case.
Yeah, he made it worse.
On to contrary, he's like, oh, nothing I did in this case made a difference. Although I was featured in the Wisconsin lawyer.
Yeah. And you were on the news and you've seen your client 3 times. Wow.
All right.
He says that he honestly thinks that what he did never made a difference as far as conviction of Brendan. You are so far fucking wrong because you bought in O'Kelly, who massacred Brendan. Okay?
Yeah.
Literally. You just took that kid and put him on a chopping block with some fucking deviant motherfucker and you massacred him.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're saying is that you had picked up on the idea that rather than talking to them, you would send motions to the press so that they would have it. Right, I would do that at such a time as I knew that they had already gotten the clerk of clerks here because I didn't want Judge Fox to hear about something before I got here. But I tried to time it so that they
what?
Would get it at the same morning
shit.
that it came here. So that way they'd stop asking questions because they were monitoring this case on CCAP. Okay, now you had a phone conference with Michael O'Kelly on that day also. And I'm wondering, what was the direction for O'Kelly at this point? I really don't recall his answer. Okay.
The famous answer.
I want to take you up on 423. There's a reference here to an email from Mr. Kratz. Do you recall what that was about? He says, I do not. All right. You had on April 24th, you had contacted with 5 members of the media, right? Actually, there were 3. A. Levy is twice on that day. Okay. There's also mentioned that there's an email from Mr. Kratz and Mark Wiegert. Do you know what that was about? I'm not sure if this was the time, but there was certainly some discussion at some point of making the March 1st available for Barb Janda or other Avery family members to view, but I'm not sure if that's what that was about or not. And to what end? I think it was just to show them how convincing it was, perhaps, affecting the advice they were giving Mr. Dassey. So basically they were trying to get to the family and try to convince the family that Brendan's guilty and that he needs to plea out. Well, that's part of what when he was doing to the press, but I guess they were trying to more directly by giving them the videotape and saying, listen, your son's admitting to it. Of course, we all now know that that's still bullshit because you could sit there and you can see them watching them feed them the answers.
Yep.
And the advice you're giving to Mr. Dassey, the point at his case was pretty much hopeless. And that really he ought to be doing here is focusing on a guilty plea.
I want to punch the screen.
Right.
I think I was really more strongly in the direction that the decision was made on the motion to suppress. That was basically our only hope, in my opinion, based on the evidence available to have an acquittal. There's no confession. Evidence. Exactly. There was the confession was suppressed. The state would probably have to dismiss the case for lack of evidence, as far as I knew.
That's what they should have did.
Yeah,
but of course,
that's what they should have done.
You know, this has always bothered me. Okay, and I just got to say it. No matter what Brendan went through, which was a lot, and I'm not saying it's bad or good. I believe every single bit of it is absolutely horrible, and I cannot imagine anybody going through it, including myself as an adult. But when they convicted Stephen, they should have dropped Brendan. There was no reason to follow through with this.
Nope.
And there was no evidence. They got their man. Why'd they have to keep going through this and bring in Brendan? They, that's their excuse. They needed him for Stephen. They convicted Stephen. You need to stop this shit. They're just, and their excuses are fucking bullshit. It's just so many lies. Contradicts everything that they say. What you see Brendan going through and what you see Brendan answering, and these motherfuckers on these things here, their post-conviction is such bullshit.
Yeah, and they're doing it under oath. It's just falling off their tongue under oath. This is a legal binding document.
Yeah.
And they are lying through their teeth at every minute they can get.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but I had to say that because to me, they should have stopped. They should have. Any decent fucking prosecutor would have said, no, you need to stop. This is not right. It's just not right. There's nothing about it right. And they didn't. So nobody was there. And it eats me. It eats me away alive. And I know these motherfuckers sleep every night with no problem. They got no conscience. I call that a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the actual sociopaths in this case. Are the ones that have done these things to a 16-year-old kid and have absolutely no remorse or care about it. The fact that they, ruined this kid's life for the conviction of his uncle. That's a real sociopath.
Which they already had. They had the conviction. You should have dropped this. They should have dropped this.
They should have. But I feel like this was their way of one-upping also the families in a way, like, I don't know, like nobody's safe. Nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe. Nobody is safe. Even Kathleen Zellner last night, I watched Dream Killer again. Okay.
Yeah.
And even she says on there, don't think it can't happen to you. If two people say you were in a place doing something, you're going down.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Well, it's getting really close to the end, and I'm just like so heated up you wouldn't even believe it. I'm sorry.
You want to wrap it up here then?
I think for my blood pressure, maybe we better, because I'm just so pissed off. I mean, I don't understand why they can't be brought back into court and show this to some reasonable judge that had nothing to do with the case, and have them look at this honestly. I mean, I can't wait till we start reading some of them omnibus letters. I mean, I really can't, because that will show,
Oh, that's actually what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Whenever
you want
to. I know Alice has a full schedule. When are you next free, Alice?
Whenever you're free, it's just the time difference with yourselves. That's all.
Yeah, but so before you do have stuff going on Tuesday though.
Tuesday is Rhonda.
Yeah.
But that's not until her 6
she
o'clock.
feels better. Yeah.
Okay.
That's I've not spoken to Rhonda yet. She was doing a memorial for her son. That passed away this year.
Everybody give her good thoughts.
Yes, we send our love to Rhonda. So I'm not 100% sure what the schedule is. She is hoping that she's going to feel a bit better and have her mind in a better place. So hopefully we will be back on Tuesday, but it's not certain. So
we can do it during the day too, Becca, whenever you got time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, why don't we do we can do this Tuesday morning then.
Well, that'd be fine with me.
Or it's the same time for you, Alice. It'd be the same time for you that we do this thing, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. That's 5 o'clock my time.
So why don't we do that? Next Tuesday we'll read maybe one or two of those amicus letters, because let's spread some positivity and some good vibes about Brendan and what the professionals think.
Yes, I agree. I think
everyone wants to join us.
I think everybody needs to hear how many people really stand with so much credibility, really stand behind Brendan. It would be nice to have something positive. I mean, this shit pisses me off, and it needs to get out, and I realize that. But it's hard not to be emotional about it, whether you know Brendan or not. It's so hard to not be angry when you read this shit.
Yeah, but not only that, Linda, with us doing this, right?
Yeah.
You've got the guilters out there that say, oh, he done it, Barb and that knew, they must have known, and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, doing these papers that happened during the court where everybody is showing, it's there in black and white. They did not tell the family everything.
They didn't tell Barb shit.
No.
Yeah. No, they didn't.
They kept her as blind can be. And if nobody can see that, then they really got issues. Because I'm not the only one that sees that she was blinded by them people.
They
didn't tell her. Did you discuss this with Barb? No, I don't think
That's the part about all this that really like irks me, and that I can't wrap my mind around, because like if this was any other occasion or whatever, you would have to tell the parent. You'd have to tell the minor's guardians.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't is just absolutely maddening. Like it would be an absolute violation of
civil rights
for a doctor to not tell the parents of the patient. You know, if you had a small child, you have to talk to the parents about medical stuff. You know, the teachers have to talk to the parents about school stuff, you know. And you know, like, you have to ask permission from your parents to do everything in this world except for this legal stuff
that puts them away forever.
You can't talk to, like, and I know he was possibly being trialed as an adult at this point, but just the fact that he's still a minor.
Yeah.
He's a kid. This is why I don't agree with trialing kids as adults. I don't.
The duty of care.
I don't care. I don't care what the crime is. Children are children, and they should not be treated as adults.
Yep.
No. Well, for crying out loud, I mean, in your country, you have to be 22, or is it 21 or 22 before you can even drink.
Yep. Buy cigarettes, drink, or go in the army. Any of it, 21.
Yeah.
So that's why I said in one of my little videos that I don't believe that you should be able to have anything until you're 21. If you need your parents for everything. Until you're 21 years old. But no, they do this. And you're right. It's 100% fucking child abuse. Yes, it is. This is child abuse in its worst. It is.
It really, like, like I said, it just blows my mind that it's like can you imagine the difference it would have made if they did inform Barb?
Oh my God,
your kid passed the polygraph test. Hey, your kid, blah, blah, blah. Like, if she actually had that kind of control over this case, then it would have been different.
Yes, it would have.
Of course it would have.
Just like with that interview.
Of course, because she would, because like any person, because they're like, why didn't Barb do? What could Barb done? Nothing was being told to Barb. Don't you think she would have like blasted with to the news and media that her kid passed the polygraph test? Passed the polygraph test, and that he's innocent.
Well, you hear her all the time say, they don't tell me, Brendan. They don't call me, Brendan. I'm sorry. They don't tell me nothing. You hear her saying that all the time. And now you see it. He's saying, did you tell Barb? No,
Nope. Did you tell Barb? Nope. Did you ask Barb? Nope. Did you involve Barb at all? No, I don't think so. So
exactly. And it's just wrong. And I mean, I think I'm more angry at the on bank hearing and everything like that with that Judge Hamilton, who said that the investigators didn't feed him the information and things like that. It's people like him is the reason why people like Brendan end up behind bars in the fucking first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they are so blindsided that their investigators could be rotten, and they could have coerced that confession out of that young man. Now, there's 250 different experts who are the best in their field.
Yep.
And they have all said that in false confessions and interrogations and everything like that, and they've all came forward and they've all said that Brendan is innocent and his coercion was coerced. Now they all can't be wrong, because if they're wrong, then they wouldn't have got as far in their fucking careers as what they have.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, next Tuesday, 11 a.m., we'll start reading some of the omnibus letters.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything they want to plug before we leave? Linda, Kay, Alice, anything going on?
Open mic, 5 o'clock, foul play.
Today? Do we know what the topic is on the open mic?
I believe we're going to be discussing the Angela Levy interview.
Ooh.
So that is one of the things we'll be talking about, which is a really good thing to follow up through this, because you'll get to hear Brendan, you know. Oh, Jax goes, shh.
Yeah.
Well, I can't really.
I guess just to give everyone a heads up, I did record
and a new FOIA. He said, and a new FOIA.
And a new FOIA. Sweet. Yep. That sounds like fun. That sounds like something I'm going to be turning into.
Yeah. And I'd like to say that Brendan did give permission for this to be talked about. So.
Yes, he did. He gave me specific permission that it was okay for this particular phone call to be put on YouTube and to be discussed by foul play. And if anyone wants to hear the phone call before I did do a little video on it, a few videos.
Great job too, by the way.
Thank you. So if anybody wants to actually listen to it before foul play, I'm sure they'll be playing it during foul play. But nothing else, Linda. I think, don't you guys have a what grinds my gears coming up?
Yeah, grind my gears. If Sean's up to it, again, will be next Saturday morning.
Sweet.
We're gonna be talking about a FOIA.
Wait, was that this morning too? Did I miss that?
No, it was on Saturday, but Wiz wasn't feeling so good, so we're connecting it to next week. And hopefully Jazz Naz will maybe join us.
Yay!
For that would be nice, because he didn't really get to talk last time, and I was moving around with my freaking laptop so much trying to stay. You know, it was really hard to watch that. So I don't blame anybody, but yeah, I'll be at my desk.
All right. And then Alice, anything for you coming up?
Just hopefully Rhonda's feeling a bit better, so we'll be going back to the Daniel Holtzclaw case, where we're going over the accusers, and we're actually trying to sort of break it down into layman's terms, so that everybody can understand the sort of timeline and everything like that that's going. So that'll be Tuesday night for that one, hopefully. Fingers crossed on Thursday night we'll be doing Daniel's book case with reading Death and Justice by Mark Furnham. Then Brendan Talks on Friday. Open Uncle Ken on Saturday, and this
Grind Your Gears.
Open mic and Grind Your Gears on Saturday, and then open mic and this on Sunday. So a busy week.
Yeah, we're busy.
I know. Where's our paycheck?
Yeah.
All these hours. All right.
I wonder if we get mental compensation.
Mental compensation.
Well, I get my compensation in Discord because you are all my therapists.
I know, right? I was just gonna say, you guys there's the YouTube.
Check out what Becca's been doing on the channel, because she's really been doing a lot on Brendan Talks, and I'm hats off to you, Becca. I mean, you make this so wonderful. You really do. And
thank you.
Yep. Very proud of you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, check out our Discord, check out Foul Play's Discord. I have the Facebook group down in the description. If you want to buy some merch, they're down in the description too. Everything's down in the description.
In the description.
It's time for Becca to go to bed. So.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.
You too, Becca.
Bye.
Bye.